Well, good morning, folks. Lester here, and there's Rocky. I'm headed out early this morning over to I'm a Survivor, a sanctuary. I have to get some fencing done, and we're trying to move pretty fast here. I'm doing a real quick sweep to make sure all my babies are okay. It's 5 a.m. Everything looks good here. Rocky, could you just not hush it up until at least 6? At least 6. The sun's not even up yet. The sun's not even up and Rocky's screaming up the storm. Oh, Lord. Oh, look. Hi, sweetie. You've been watching your babies all night. She watches her babies who are asleep in there. We're not going to bother them this early. But you guys come with me. Let's get over there and get some work done. While it's early, while it's still fairly cool. Good morning, my sweet girl. All of our guardian protectors are out and about in full force, doing their job. I love you so much. Thank you for doing what you do. All right, we'll see you guys over there. Well, it is a nice, cool 83 degrees as we're rolling up into the sanctuary. Trying to get here early and get some work done so that we can be done before the temperatures reach 100 instead of starting like we did yesterday. I'm sore. I will say my body is sore. Yesterday was the first. I only worked an hour and a half, but it was the kind of work that my body is not familiar with. And so that always happens when you do a job that your body's not done in a while. Physical labor, it can take a toll on you. So I'm here early and I can look out across the pasture and I see, looks like dogs. From here it looks like a couple of dogs way out there in the grass walking around. I can promise you Annie and Ernie are already aware of them. My God, do y'all hear all the noise? Do y'all hear all the racket? Sheesh. I don't miss this for anything. I don't, not all the noise. Oh my gosh. No, listen to me. I do not miss. There's the peafowl. Oh gosh. Is that where you slept all night right there? Is that where you roost all night? With all your friends? If I can be here this early, y'all need to get up and get moving. Y'all need to wake up and get to moving. Wake up and get to moving. I'm not going to be the only one moving around here. If I got to be up this early, so do y'all. Hi, Pablo. Oh, Lord. And Cornholio. Good morning, boys. You guys appear to be up to no good. I'm going to leave you right inside there. I'm not even going to let you out. Nope. Hi, sweetie. Good morning, my love. Good morning, guys. Can I pass through here real fast, sweetie? You got an itch? You got an itch in your ear? It's nice and early, and it's quiet still. I think now would be a good time to talk to you all about a plan I have that I hope is going to work. Now, I want you to be patient, and you need to hear me out before you say anything or before you get all defensive. And also know that this is a temporary move. This is a temporary move, and I think one that I have to do. All right, so I want you to take a little peek at the grass in this pasture. Notice the grass in this pasture over here with Santoro as well. And remember that I'm going to combine these two pastures together. That's what I'm working on right now, is a fence where I can combine these two pastures together, which will allow the animals in this pasture a pond. It also allows them access to go inside of a shelter. It also gives them fresh water that we change out every couple of days. That stays. Boy, you guys are moving slow. You guys look like you're exhausted. Waylon, get off that post. Waylon? Oh, Waylon, that's not a scratching post. My God, sir. I set that in cement yesterday and he's about to knock it off. Okay, no damage done. Boy, I tell you what. Oh my gosh. Waylon, these are not scratching posts. I'm sorry, guys. It was a quiet morning until Waylon woke up. Anyway, here's what I want to do, and I need you to hear me out real fast, okay? Just hear me out. What I want to do, what I think I need to do is, number one, complete this fence. Get my gate over here so I can open it up where animals in this pasture have access to the entire 4 acres with the pond. And here, you ready for this one? This will become the new bullpen. And when I say bullpen, I mean in this pasture will be Wayland, Santoro, and ready for this one? Tex. You heard me right. All 3 of Longhorn Lester's bulls. There will be no ladies in here. There will be no ladies allowed. None. No ladies. It will only be the 3 males. Waylon, who's our youngest bull. You don't like that idea, baby? You want to keep Waylon with you? Wayland, Santoro, and Tex in what will become the 4-acre bullpen. Stop it with a pond, with shelter, with shade, with clean, fresh water, and with grass. You need to hear that, with grass. And of course, we'll also provide dry hay. All of the ladies, every one of our ladies and our calves will be going out. They'll be over on this side. They will have access to the entire 15 acres over on this side. This is the lane that they'll walk down. This is the lane right here. This is the lane they'll be using. And they will go right down the lane. Well, they can go right up the lane if they want to go into the barn to get their fresh water to eat. And all that I do around the barn area, they got their shelter. But every morning, they'll walk right on down this lane, the way they're walking right now, and they will go right out this gate, right here, this big, heavy gate. And then they will have access to the entirety of everything else from here on back. And when I say from here on back, I don't just mean the 5-acre pasture. I mean all of the additional property, the additional 11 acres that I bought. They'll go right over there through the 38.6, not 40. And eventually all that will be wonderful grazing land. Now that is not a permanent fix, guys. This is not a permanent and forever thing. It's not forever, but it is what I think I need to do now during the continuation of this drought. There's plenty of grass here. There's plenty to forage on back there. And I think that this will give our Longhorns their best life. If you need to, think of it as like Catholic school. Yeah, think of it of like Catholic school, where your boys and your girls are separated. And we're going to do that for a little bit. We're going to have to do that. So you can think of this future Longhorn arrangement as a Catholic school scenario where your boys and girls, watch out for that string, where your boys and girls will be separated. And if they're separated, there should not be any fighting. I don't think there'll be any fighting. Now, I think the girls may wrestle around at first. You're going to have Marilyn and Jezebel along with Santiana and Charlene joining Pearl, Gracie, Jolene, and all of the ladies and those calves will be here in the back pastures. Up in the front pasture, I can promise you, Tex, Santoro, and Waylon will all push each other around a little bit as well. But it's not going to be any kind of a knockdown, drag-out fight the way that you've seen before from, you know, our other bulls and other. There's not going to be a reason to fight. So in case you're very upset and you're bothered by that, you can look now and talk to cattlemen who have large cattle ranches. And guys, that's what they all do. That's what they all do. They don't leave their bulls and heifers together. And if you do it that way, you can control a lot of things. Number one, you can control any kind of, you can actually control who you want to breed with who by allowing cows and bulls together when the time is right. You can also control when they drop their calves by planning. You can plan the cycles, and you can make sure that you only let your bull with your heifer calculating when you want them to drop a calf, not in the heat of the summer like we've dealt with this year. And so cows will come into heat every month. And so what you have to do as a responsible farmer, rancher, cattleman is plan your pregnancies. And so that's what we're going to do. There goes Lou going to work. You have to plan it. Now, like I said, this is a temporary solution just during this drought until we can figure something out to do with the Longhorn Lester property, because, well, that's a whole nother story in itself, y'all. That is a whole nother story in itself. But we have, at this point, I'm going to call it major issues over there. Major issues with our grasses. And that is something that I never expected. I never thought about. It was a huge oversight on my part. And so that right there is a whole separate issue. But just so you know, I'm about to get started. No one wants to watch me build a bunch of fence. But my plan of when I get this finished over here, which will be in another week or so, is going to be a major move. Major. And we're going to see how that works out. I'm happy to know that the cows will be getting better nutrition. And it's going to be it'll be some trial and error. I can promise you that. So I hope you'll stick around and figure out and watch and see how all that goes. Look how pretty our sunrise is. I am blessed to be able to do this kind of work. I read all the time about people who are unable to do things based on medical conditions that they've endured. A lot of folks are even younger than I am. There's a lot of people who are younger than I am who have medical conditions that enable them, or that, I'm sorry, do not allow them to work, especially things like this. I mean, even my own son, at the very young age of 23, injured his back and was unable to do a lot of things that most kids his age could do. And I've only dealt with minor pain in my lifetime. I've never had any serious issues. Everyone knows I hurt my shoulder, injured my shoulder a while back, and that was really tough for someone who's so active. So I can't imagine you guys who've been in automobile accidents or just work-related accidents, who've undergone some kind of traumatic situation that makes you unable to work, because I know how much that takes away from you. It is so darn loud over here. I'm excited because we've got a total of 10 posts in the ground. Let's count them. Y'all want to count with me? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Isn't that great? Nice and pretty in a line. I believe at this point you can start slowly seeing how the lane's going to look. You can kind of get an idea of what we're doing now. So the lane where I'm parked right there will be the way that all of the cows from the back get up to the front. And of course, like I said, all of this will become one big 4-acre pasture that's going to be heavily fortified. Seriously, heavily fortified. And it's going to have to be, because we're going to have 3 massive bulls in there. I know you're saying, Lester, only Tex is massive. You're right, but can I say massive personalities? And then I'll ask you one last question, and I promise I'll let you go. I'm gonna get 4 more in the ground before I leave today. 4 more. I want to ask you one last question before I let you go, though. Something to think about, and I would love to see your comments on this one over here. Y'all ready? All right, my question is, how much of a psychological toll, if that's even a thing amongst cows and bulls, is it going to take on, because Tex is obviously the more mature, the largest, and the strongest of all of the bulls. Santoro is next in order, and Waylon is the 3rd. He's the youngest. He's only a yearling. Same age as Jolene. Is it going to take a psychological toll on Waylon and Santoro when, as of right now, they're all their own men? It's true. Santoro here behind me, even though he's in a small pasture, he is his own man. He doesn't have to fight. He has his 2 lady friends, and to him, life is great. Waylon, over here in the back, is running around with 3 lady friends, Pearl, Gracie, and Jolene. And to him, life is great. Life is just grand. Tex is at the other property with Santana and his daughter, Charlene. And as far as that part of him goes, He got his lady, and you know, and he's fine. What kind of a psychological toll is it going to take on these 3 bulls if I remove them from their families, put them together in a bull pen, so as I can let all the females graze and have free run for their nutritional health, to help better manage the calves and the breeding. I'm trying to do the responsible thing. I'm trying to do the responsible thing. And this is what the larger cattle farmers do. The cattle ranchers, this is what they do. And if I want to be a cattle man, do I have to take the human side out of it? Can I? Can we take the human side out of it and stop humanizing and, oh my God, you're going to separate them from their families? Because that's where my mind is at right now. That's where my mind is at. And I don't want to see anybody suffer. I want them to have their best life, their best lives. But it is going to be what's going to happen. And we are forced to do that now because of what Mother Nature has done with us and our grass situation at the other property. Guys, there's nothing to eat. There's nothing to eat. And we have to make a move. Once again, Lester eats crow. I think that's the expression everyone uses. I've read that so many times. What I think that means is you're eating your words. And I'm not so much eating my words, I'm having to swallow my pride in the fact that I went off against my family's wishes and invested in property that I thought would be a beautiful and ideal forever home for my Longhorns, only to find out that the pastures were not able to sustain them with the grasses that grow there now. And now to find out that the grasses that I planted because of the drought are not going to come up this year. And then to find out that because of the soil type, it's very likely that we'll never get the grasses that we need without bringing in hundreds of loads of topsoil. And all of that is just defeating and crushing to my ego, to my dreams. So I don't mind working. I don't mind working. I'll get out here and I'll work right along with the best of them. Thank you, God, for giving me the ability to work. I'm about halfway done with my post, which is the hardest part of this job. But decisions, big decisions had to be made. And what I'm thinking right now is the best decision is what we talked about. Having a bullpen for literally our bulls. Anybody in the know, if you're anybody in the know, I really would ask for your advice, your opinions, your thoughts on the matter. And with that being said, guys, I'm not going to keep y'all. I know you got better things to do than watch me sweat while I work. I'm going to put 4 more posts in the ground, and I'll be done for the day. I'll be back to Longhorn Lester's by noon. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch you guys on tomorrow's video.